Hi, welcome to the round 2 preview as the Blues are set to take on the Hawks Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. back at the MCG, 7 days after our round 1 defeat to the Tigers. We talked about the line in the sand moment on Monday night, but I thought the line in the sand was after the way 2024 ended, and all of a sudden we're back at this shut up shop, bad loss, no content on the club's social media accounts, and rightly so, great decision. We're already here. Like, this is not something that usually happens after round 1. So, coming off a really bad loss, embarrassing, all the adjectives you want to use, and then you're coming up against Hawthorn, who I think represent the new age team very well. Modern coach who has struck the balance seemingly very well between being that authoritarian, but also with the playing group that is allowed to express themselves and play on instinct. And they seem to have that balance really well between having fun and being disciplined and making sure that the work is done. So I went and watched the Hawks play on Friday night last week, and I don't think they played very well. I don't think they played to their best, but they were efficient and they were so well connected with one another. And it's really evident, especially, 24 hours after watching the Blues play, who was so connected for a quarter and then completely disconnected and focused. And so I'm worried for sure. I'm concerned. Last week, it wasn't about the one game in isolation, and I don't really understand why there is a rhetoric out there that it's one game. It is one game. However, the characteristics of the way in which they performed has not been one game. It's been a constant for a while now, for a number of years. There's been a number of great runs that have been made, but it always seems to come back to that type of mental fragility under pressure. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, we're on the journey to a premiership, so you're preparing for grand final day every time you take the field. And if that is going to happen when the pressure comes from Richmond, I'm mindful of the pressure that's going to come from Hawthorn, and they're much more equipped than what Richmond were to perform at the highest level. So I'm concerned. Do I think the Blues can win? Of course they can win. Any team can win on any given day, as we've just seen. So it's not like it's an impossible task, but it's just bizarre that we're in round 2 and feeling like this. It's just not, I don't think it's the way it should be. However, if it's the blessing in disguise that's needed to whip the team into shape, then great. But I just can't grab onto that, because that's what the final against Brisbane was supposed to be. That was supposed to be okay, look at how it all ended. We're embarrassed and, never going to happen again. We're never going to feel that way again. So there's a real shake-up that's happened. I have not seen the fan base collectively as pissed off as what they have been since Thursday in a while. Like, real statements being made, actions, whether it's, firstly, the cheer squad not doing the raffle this week, not wanting to take any more from Carlton supporters, wanting to give back an experience. And that's what this week's prize will be. It'll be a prize for 2 to go on the field on Thursday and help them with the banner and bring 2 people out to the MCG, where it's, the Almost Blues brothers having their 2-minute show. There's just a real sadness mixed with anger, mixed with humiliation, mixed with, is this still happening? Mixed with, it's just the worst part about the club has already started to rear its head. So yeah, the conversation around the balance of what is this is what's the balance between the players having to take accountability and grow up and own it and take accountability in game, not post game, but in game, and wrestle the momentum. But then there's also the element of, well, there's coaching that has to be done as well. So that part is always a mystery to us because we don't know the full details of what's happening, but we just judge based on performance because that's all that matters on this side. So my concerns are pretty clear. I think all of us are in the same boat when it comes to our concerns of what could happen. It could play into our hands. I doubt that there will be any suggestion this week that any player would be taking Hawthorn lightly. That might play into our hands. There's no doubt in my mind that there was a complacency that kicked in last week, and that's all you need in this game to be run over. We're going to get a few players back, hopefully. Vossi alluded to Charlie Curnow being available this week, provided he got through training. He also alluded to Orazio Fantasia being available this week, provided he got through training. So those are two changes that are already on the cards. Does Francis Evans keep his spot? Given I think he might have been playing the Fantasia role, although I think all the small forwards seemingly were playing the Fantasia role last week. Charlie's obviously, I'm mindful of Charlie. Like, yes, he's a very big part of the group and he brings that energy. And in some ways, he can be like the soul of the team because he brings his energy and it's infectious. And he's got that passion and he plays with that desire and he plays with that emotion. But also mindful of the fact that he's just not as prepared as what he could have been, given he had injuries over the preseason, surgeries to the ankle, to the knee, the clean up. So mindful of expectations, and really I'm at a point where why put expectations on them? Because expectations is where disappointment comes from if they're not met. I don't know where this team's at after one game. Yeah, what I saw last week was rattling. It was kind of rattling, and then you think of Hawthorn. The last time we played Hawthorn, that was also rattling. I'll never forget that. We wheeled out the collars, wheeled out the legends, in the sun all day, and then just watched Hawthorn dismantle us, compounded with injuries. But I think anyone who was at that game knew that Hawthorn had us very early before those injuries started coming. So, yeah, would love some retribution for that. But, what does that even mean? This team has got everyone is, our guards are up. Everyone's got their guard up all of a sudden. And again, that might be a good thing. There can be no false dawn about what this team is still capable of in a bad way. So I'm bracing for the worst because of what I've seen with this group when the pressure's on. But in some ways, I think that's when they perform well, when expectations not on them, when external noise is criticizing them. It's almost like they need to be criticized in order to have something to prove wrong or right. It doesn't come from within the motivation. It seems to come, and they seem to really lock in and focus when there's fires everywhere. So I don't know. I don't want to be feeling like this early in the season. Hopefully it's the line in the sand, the actual line in the sand moment that the group needs, and the coaches and the players and everyone just focuses. Can they do it for 4 quarters? I do think they can. I really do think that they can. It's just a question of will they or won't they. So more to see Thursday night. What about you? How are you still feeling? Got to get over it eventually, but it does linger. The bad losses like that linger for a while, and you need the ball to bounce for the next game to create the new memory, which is what we said last week about round 1, relating it to the final. But what are you feeling about the Hawks this week? Do you have that ominous feeling about what could happen? Does your mind turn to what could happen in the positive or the negative. Are you fearful? Are you hopeful? Are you confident? I do have space where I do genuinely believe it'll be such a Carlton thing to win the game. I have equal amount of space for not against the Hawks. The Hawks are too well drilled, well coached for us on Thursday. So the boys have got to pull something out. The whole activating of the crowd, I think, has to come with defense, not goals. Like, goals will activate a crowd, but activate the crowd early with the defensive intent. And I think you get the crowd on side, then you get that little bit of spark. Hopefully that creates some energy for the group. And I'll be looking to see body language is a big one. I've got Harry Mackay in the thumbnail this week. I usually put a player who played well the week before. Harry didn't play well last week, but Harry has to respond this week. He is a leader, and his body language in one-on-one contests and the way he competes, I think will be something I'll be firmly focused on. So I back him in to respond. He has to respond. We need presence down there. At the time of filming this, I don't know for sure if Charlie's going to play. There's just been suggestions that he will play. So there is that. And we'll see how we go. Chat to you in the comments. See you Thursday at the MCG. Go Blues.